Today we are going to see about the operating system. So I am Joseph Pushparaj, AP AML department, and today we are going to discuss about the introduction to operating system. In that we are having the topic like what is OS, a need for an operating system, user and system point of view about the OS, and history of OS, and also we are going to see about the process and tools. Okay, if you are having the time, then we can see all these topics. So now we are going to see about what is operating system. So for a general example, we are going to start this session with a general example. Consider a restaurant. In that restaurant, there are three people. Three important people will be there. One is a client, that means those who are coming for eating, and one is server, those who are serving the food to the particular user, and next one is a cook, those who are preparing the food. Okay, so here these three people are coordinated by the manager. So here, if the customer needs anything about the food, and if he wants anything, means he will intimate to the server, then server will communicate these things to the cook, then the cook will prepare the food, and after that will be issued to the customer. So here the manager will be the intermediate person for all. He may be intermediate with a particular customer and server, and also server and those who are preparing food, that means cooks. So here, if there is any problem occur, means that problem which can be solved by the particular manager. The same way, so here that OS which is acting like an intermediate between the user, computer hardware, and also user applications, and it is providing the service for running the application on the computer system. For example, if we are user, if you are installing any new application in our computer, means which can be supported by the operating system. If the operating system is not supported with a particular application, means that application will not be run, and the user cannot able to use that particular application. So here the OS, which is act as an intermediate between the user of the computer and the computer hardware, as well as the application which is installed in the particular system. So main goal of this operating system is, so here it is execute the user program, and which is solving the user problems easier. For example, if I am a user, means if I am writing any program in C or any program in the Python, means so which can be executed by the use of operating system, and through that program I can able to get the output. So here it is executing the user program and the solving the user problem easier. And the second goal of the OS is it makes the computer system convenient to use. So without your OS or without the operating system, the system is nothing. If a system doesn't have any OS, means we can put the system on the scrap. So if you want to use that particular system, means definitely you should install the operating system. So that operating system which makes the system as convenient to use. Suppose if you are having a good operating system, means definitely the user can be able to interact with the system easily. So operating system is important to particular system, and the operating system which is helping to computer hardware, and we can use the computer hardware in efficient manner. So if you don't have an operating system, then we can't able to handle the hardware like mouse, and hardware like keyboard, and hardware like any other joystick, etc. We can't able to use it. So here this operating system which is support to use that particular hardware resources like mouse and the particular keyboards. And why we need the operating system? Why we need operating system? So here we know that in computer system we are having the central processing unit. So here any application which is installed on the system and which is processing the central processing unit with the help of the operating system only. So here that user application which may need some kind of storage informations, or it needs some kind of memory, and it need to use some kind of hardware, means that can be used helped by the operating system. Suppose if you don't have the operating system, means definitely that application cannot able to run, and the operating system, if you don't have operating system, means the memory which is not allocated to the application which you are installing. And similarly, so here the user application sometimes it need the input as well as the output. For example, if you want to give some kind of input, means for that we need input hardware like keyboard and mouse and all. So for this we should use the operating system. So here the operating system should help to interact with the hardware. Similarly, it is supposed to print the output to the particular user. For example, if you are running the one program, then that will be displayed on the screen, or if you are running the one program, that will get the print. So all which can done by the operating systems. Okay. And let us consider we are having a few applications like document design, accounting, email, image processing, and the game. So these all application can run by the operating system only. Suppose if you want to make a documentation in Word, means for that we need the operating system. Suppose if you want to know the account information of the system, means we can able to get it through the operating system. Suppose if you want to send a mail to some other person, means here also operating system which is support to send the email. Similarly, suppose if you want to make some kind of image processing, or suppose if you are making edit on the particular images, means for that also we need to have a operating system. Finally, if a user who is running the particular game, means for that also we need a operating system. Okay. So here each above application which is required some kind of resources which is given by the operating system. So here some example for that particular resources like process information, storage informations, mechanism to inputting information, provision for outputting information. So these all resources which is allocated by the operating system. Suppose if you don't have the operating system, then that particular application cannot use these kind of resources. So and that application can run by these kind of resources only. So we need the operating system. And next we are going to see the user and system view of about the operating system. So here we are having one diagram. In this diagram we are mentioning the user as well as the system application and the computer hardware. So here the operating system which is intermediate between the system and application program as well as the computer hardware. So here if the operating system is not working properly, means then the computer hardware cannot access the application, and also user cannot able to access the application program. So from the user point of view, the operating system is very convenient to use the application which we are installing in the particular system. So here for user we should have some kind of icons in the particular system, and we should have some kind of command prompt in the system. As a user we should give the command to run the program, as well as you have to click the icon and to run the application. So this kind of visible activities which is created by the OS, as well as the command which is accepted by the OS, which that OS will execute the particular application. So from the user point of view, that operating system is make the system very convenient to use by the user. From the system point of view, that operating system is helping to maximize the utilization of the resources. For example, in our system, suppose if you are having the 5 resources means or 5 order means, so that operating system which is allocate the resources to the each and every user. For example, if somebody printing the system and some more person who is waiting for the particular printing means, then the printer is available means automatically that operating system which is allocate the resource to the particular user. So here the operating system which is helping to increase the utilization of the resources. So from the system point of view, we can say that if you want to increase the utilization of the system, then utilization of the resources, then we need to have the operating system. So now we are going to see the various function of an operating system. So here I have given some kind of example function for the operating system. The first one is the memory management. So memory management means, so here the operating system which is helping to allocate the memory to the application and memory to the files, and it gives some kind of spaces to install in the application. So all which is done by the operating system. So all kind of memory which can be managed by the operating system. And second is the process management. So suppose if you are running any application means, in that we can create the process and we can run the particular process. So here the process creation and running the process and deleting the process, all operation can done by the operating system. And also device management. So we all know that in system we may have input devices as well as we may have the output devices. So all devices which is managed by the operating system. So already I said that in resources which is allocated by the operating system only. So devices also managed by the operating system. And next one is a file management. So suppose a user who is creating the file and he is performing the edition operation on the file, and he is closing the file and he is deleting the file for all operations which is done by the operating system only. And next one is the security purpose. Okay, so here we can have the authentication on our system with the help of the operating system. So as a user we can set the password. As a user we can set the username. With the help of the username as password, we can able to log in into the system. So that all accessed by the operating system. And also control of the system performance. Suppose if you want to increase the performance means, then this operating system will be support. So here if you are having the update in operating system means, definitely it will improve the performance of the particular system. And also we say error detecting. So here suppose if I install some C programming application and I am running that C programming application, and while I am running that program I may get the error message. So for all error messages, all error detecting operation which is done by the operating system only. And finally is cooperating with the other software and the user. So here in our system we may install the plenty of software like Google Chrome and some other software application, Java application, .NET applications, or internet operation. For all these activities which is helping by the operating system. So here this operating system which is coordination between our software as well as the user. And next type of operating system. So here the operating system divided into 5 types. One is the batch OS, and second is the time sharing OS, distributed OS, network OS, as well as the real time OS. So first we are going to see batch operating system. So this is a type of operating system which do not interact with the computer directly. So here in this operating system it may have operators and which takes similar jobs having the same requirements and group all the job and it will run at the same time. So that we can call it as a batch operating system. Okay. So here the responsibility of the operator, it has to sort the all jobs which is similar need or similar requirements need. So after that it will performing the execution of the particular things. Okay. So using this batch operating system we can run the different jobs, or 1 job, 2 job, or 5 jobs. We can run all jobs in the same time. So this batch operating system will be the good one. And next one is a time sharing operating system. So here each task has some time to execute. For example, if you are going to perform the multiple tasks in a single system means, So each and every task needs some kind of time. So in using this time sharing system, so all jobs can share by the time. For example, it will share the time in a it will share the time in a similar manner. For example, in this diagram you have the word process and email option as well as the web browser. So here the operating system which is allocated for the each and every word. For word it is allocating some time, and email it is allocating some time, and also for web processing it is allocating some time. So that we can call it as a time sharing system, and also it is called it as a multi-tasking system. And the main advantages of the time sharing operating system is, so each task which is having the equal opportunity. For example, if it is allocating 5 seconds to mail means, and again it is allocated 5 seconds to word, and again it is allocated 5 seconds to gaming. So each and every task gets an equal opportunity to run, and CPU ideal time can be reduced, because so using this time sharing operating system, so all work which is running equally, so the time can be reduced in CPU, central processing unit. And the main disadvantage of the time sharing OS is a reliability problem and also data communication problem. This is the main problem which is facing in time sharing operating system. And next one is distributed operating system. So here various autonomous interconnected computers which is communicate each other with the help of the communication networks, which is called as distributed operating system. Okay. So here each and every individual unit or independent system have their own memory. So when you are running the program, and the output may save into each and every memory of the system. So here if anything happened to any system means, then other system will take over the particular thing. So the content will not be lost in distributed operating system. So here is the main advantage of the distributed operating system. First one is, if the failure on the one system will not affect the network communication, then other system will be equally running. So it will not affect the other system, and it load on host computer to reduce, and it delay the data processing reduce. So here in this distributed operating system, maximum we can able to avoid the delay, and also maximum load on the host which will be reduced using this distributed operating system. And the disadvantage of distributed operating system is the failure of the main network will stop the entire communication. So here in this diagram we have seen we have the central OS which is connected with the all other system. If the central OS fail means, then automatically all system will be collapsed. So nothing can be done in this distributed operating system. And next one is the network operating system. So here the systems run on the server, and which is provide the capability to manage the data, user groups, security applications, and other networking functions. So for example, if you consider one institution, so in this institution we may have one kind of server. So that server which is connected with the all other client system. For example, some system may be available in some other department, and some system may be available in the CSS department. So here all system which is connected with the particular server. So here that client will be access the information from the server, and also all printers which is connected through the particular server only. If the client want to print the particular data, he has to give the print through the particular server only, and also some kind of security operations and the application which is available inside the server, and the client can utilize the particular server. And the main advantages of the network operating system is it is highly stable and it is a centralized server. So already said all information which will be available on the server only. So here if the client wants to access any information means, then he has to get that particular information from the server only. So it is a centralized server, and the server access are possible remotely from the different kind of location. So here if the service is available in the one system means, then here all of the system no need to available in the same area. So we can have in the different location and we can access the server from the different location also. Okay, and the disadvantage of the network operating system is the server is costly. Suppose if a middle level person who wants to install the server means he can't be able to do it because the rate of the server is higher than the normal system, and also maintenance and updates are regularly needed for the server. Suppose if you are missing the maintenance means definitely it will affect the server and we can't able to use that particular server. And next one is a real-time operating system. So here wherever if you want to perform the real-time operation means, so in that area we should use the real-time operating system. So where we are using this real-time operation, just like army related and air force related or some kind of military related, so we are using real-time system in that particular area. So for that area we should use the real-time operating system. Or suppose if you want to automate the traffic control system, and if you want to make the robots means, for that we should use the real-time operating system. So here the real-time operating system which is divided into the hard real-time and second one is a soft real-time. So hard real-time means we should not make any delay on the system. So here the delay is not accepted. So here the application which is time constraint. So the time constraint is very much strict. Suppose if some 5 minutes allocated to the particular application means, that application should use 5 minutes alone. So it won't accept the further delay. Similarly, in soft real-time system, so here there will be some kind of time constraint will be less. So suppose some minimum amount of delay which is accepted in the soft real-time system. And this is the advantage of real-time operating system. So it can maximize the consumption and you can easily shift the task, and the memory allocation will be good on the real-time operating system. But the disadvantage of the real-time operating systems are it can done with limited task, and it cannot perform the complex algorithm, and it cannot use for the heavy system resources. So for example, for the real-time operating systems are weapon systems, robots and traffic control systems. And next one is a modes of operating system. So here operating system has the two important modes. One is the user modes and second is a kernel mode. User mode means the application which is run in the user mode. What are the application which is installed on the system which can run in the user mode. And the kernel mode means the core operating system components run in the kernel mode. For example, the booting the system and maintaining the execution, which is all done in the kernel mode. And here I have mentioned some kind of OS services. So here OS providing various services to the particular user. First one is the program execution. So here all user program which is run by the program execution services, and also input operations. For example, if a user wants to give the input and the user wants to print the output bit, which is done by the input output operation services. And second is a file system manipulation. For example, if a user who wants to create the file and delete the file and updating the file and closing the file, all can be done by the OS only. So this services which is provided by the OS, and also communication. Here the OS which is helping to communication between the hardware as well as the user. Here this interface which is helping to communicate between the hardware as well as the system. And next one is error detection. So already said, so all kind of error can be detected by the OS. suppose if any malware which is attacking our system means automatically that will be implemented by the operating system. Or suppose if you are running any application program, and while you are running the program, if the program facing some kind of error means that also error displayed by the operating system to the particular user. And next is the resource allocation. Already said, so here all kind of resources, all kind of orders which is allocated by the particular OS only. Okay, so I already said OS makes the more CPU utilization. Suppose if any order free means it will be allocated to the particular user who needs the particular order. And also protection. So already I said the OS which is supporting the security, and here we can be able to secure our system with the help of the username as well as the password. And the final services which is provided by the OS is accounting. So here it gives the information about the various tasks which is done in the particular system. For example, when we are open the file and when we are updating the file and how long you are using the system, that kind of account information will be shown by the particular OS services. Okay, and also OS services which is helpful to the user. So it is acting like a user interfaces. Okay, so I already said that suppose if user want to interact with the system means he can give some kind of commands, as well as he can click on the particular icon which is given on the particular system. So that things which is helped by the operating system. So here there are different types of user interfaces are there. One is a command line. So using these interfaces, user give to command to access any kind of application, and with the help of the commands he can run the program, he can get the output from the particular program. And next one is a graphic user interfaces. So here it gives a pictorial representation of the particular application. Suppose if you are installing any application means, so the pictorial representation of the particular application will be displayed on this particular screen, and with the help of the pointing devices you can click on that particular graphical user interfaces and you can run the particular application. So you for this kind of things also done by the operating system only. And next one is a batch interfaces. So here suppose the OS which is controls the file with the help of the commands. So we can call it as a batch interfaces, which is also support by the operating system only. And OS also supporting for the program execution. For example, if you are running any kind of program, it may be a C program or it may be a Java program or it may be a Python program. So any program execution which is done by the operating system only. Suppose when you are running the program, it is shows any error means that error also shown by the operating system only. So which is indicate to the user to correct the particular error. And also OS services which is helping to perform input and output operation. For example, to give the input with the help of the keyboard, we need an operating system. So to print the output on the screen, we need an operating system. So to print the output on the printer, we need an operating system. So this kind of services which is provided by the OS only. And also OS providing some kind of services like file system manipulation, just like creating the directories, deleting the directories, reading directories, creating file, deleting file, and list out the file informations, and gives the permission to manage the files. So all services which is given by the OS only. Next one is the communication services which is provided by the OS. So here different process may exchange the different information between the different computer. So that all communication which is done by the OS. And also error detection already said. So all kind of error which is detected by the OS and which is independent of the user. Even in application also the error also detected and which is independent to the user. And next is resource allocation. When the multiple user is trying to do multiple job means, so for them the resource which is allocated by the particular OS only. Suppose some resource will be free means automatically that resources will be allocated to the particular user. Suppose if the resource is not free means, then the OS will make that person has to wait till the resource is free. If the resource is free means automatically next second which is allocated to the particular user. Next one is accounting. It's already said it gives a keep track of track about the user, when the user is logging the system, how long he used the system, and what time he has logging, and when did he close the particular system. Every kind of information will be available in this accounting, which is done by the operating system. And final one is protecting and security. So here OS which is support to protect our system with the help of the user name and the password. So here as a user can create his own account, and he can give his own username and he can give his own password. With the help of that we can able to access the system. So these are all the services which is provided by the OS. And next one the important services is system calls. So here the OS which is supporting to create the system call. Whenever we are using the system call, so depends on the system call, the program will be executed. So here the some sequence of the system call. So first one is first the system call which is helping to acquire the input file name, and next it helps to write the prompt to the screen, and after that with the help of the other system call it accepts the input and it acquires the output file name, and it write the prompt to this particular screen, and also accept the input and open the input file, create the output file, etc., etc. So this all kind of sequence of system call which is done by the operating system only. Okay. So here when you are giving this is an example. When you are giving the one file and which will be source file, which will be converted into the destination file. For this we should have this kind of sequence. And this is the diagram for the system call. So here we are having the user mode and kernel mode. I already done. So in top we are having the user applications, and here the various system calls which is listed out, and whenever the system call enter in the particular things, so then that action will be taken. So suppose if the system call open means automatically the file will be open using the operating system. Okay. And next one is various types of system call. So first one is a process control system call. So in this process controls we are having the different types of system calls are there, which is helping for the different kind of operations. First one is a creating process, terminating process for subsystem calls, and ending and aborting, it is another system call. So create and terminate process means we can create the process and terminate the process. For end means and furtherly we no need to run the program means we can have the end system call. Suppose if you want to abruptly terminate our program means we can use the abort system call. Suppose if you want to load any program means we can use load system call, and if you want to execute means we can use the execute system call. Suppose if you want to wait the system means we can use wait for some type system call. So like that we are having plenty of system call which is available to perform the process control. And we are having some other system call which is helping to support with the file management. So for creating the file we can have the one system call. To delete the file we can have the one system call. For open and close we can use the another system call. To read the write, and we can it can perform the read operation, write operation, and reposition system call which is helping to repositioning the file. So these kind of system call which is support with the file management to create the file to from the creating the file to the delete the file. So all kind of operation can done by this system call. For device management system call, we can have the different kind of system calls are there. One is the requesting devices. We have the request device system call, and releasing the devices. We can have the release device system call. Similarly, read device and write device, repositioning. So for all we are having this kind of this system call, we are using it. And next one is information maintenance. We can have the system call like get time. If you are using the get time system call, that time will be displayed on the screen. If you are using the date system call means it can display the date, and we can use the system call for setting the time and setting the date. For that we can use set time and set date. And similarly we can have the get system data means it will gives you all system data like that. So these are the system call which is helping for the information maintenance on the particular system. And if you want to communicate between the process means we can have the system call like create, delete, and send, receive. So these are the system call we are using to perform the communication between the process. Suppose if you want to protect the system from the malware and some other damage means we can have some other system called like control access to resources and get and set permissions and allow and delay user access. So this kind of system call which is provided by the OS. So see these are all some examples for the system calls. For process control we can use create process, exit process. In Unix we can have the fork, exit, etc. For file manipulation we can use the create file, read file, write file, and close handle, etc. In Unix we can have this step like open, read, write, and close. For device manipulation we can have this step like set console and read console, write console. In Unix we can use ioctl, read and write. Similarly, information maintenance we can have this step like in Windows we can have get current process, set timer, sleep. In Unix we can have the get process ID, alarm, sleep. For communication system call we can have it in window like create file mapping, map view of file. But in Unix you can have the pipe, sharp get, and mmap. So like that we can have the different system call for Windows OS as well as the Unix OS. Okay. Suppose as a user if you are using the Windows operating system means then we can have these system call which is listed on the particular screen. Suppose if you are using the Unix operating system means then you should use this kind of system call which I am mentioning on the particular tables. Okay. So up to this we learned about what is OS and the need of OS and what are the process of operating system and what are the types of operating system and what is process and what is the user point of view and what is the system point of view about the operating system and what is system call and what are the types of system call. So these are the things we learned in these today's classes. I hope today's classes will be useful for you and make use of this today's classes. Suppose if you want to discuss other things means we will discuss in next classes. So thanks for your patience and thanks for listening this particular seminar. Thank you all. Thank you.